Max Verstappen was asked if he could change one thing in Formula One, what would it be? And he quickly says, less races. Now, do you agree with him? I do. Let's talk about it on Formula 454. So apparently in London, ahead of the F175 event, Max Verstappen was asked which rule would he change, and he said less races. It's too many. I think we're traveling quite a lot. Less races, that's what I would start with. There are a lot of things that can be changed. Also, you have to understand from the commercial side, I'm looking at it from a pure driver perspective. So in 2025, there are 24 races on the calendar, just the same as there was last year, which is the most in Formula One history. And Max Verstappen is saying, by his own words, I'm looking at it from a pure driver perspective, which means this is his own personal beliefs as a driver. Now, a lot of people are going to say, shut up, Max, you're making $60 million a year. I'm pretty sure you can, work 24 days a year, or at least 24 weekends a year. And it's not an unreasonable argument if you look at it just from that level. But be clear, not every driver is making $60 million a year. Alex Albon is not. Any of the rookies out there are not, yet they have the same schedule and are expected to race the same amount of races. Plus, it's 24 races plus 6 sprint weekends, so that's an extra 6 races a year. That's 30 now. And that is getting to be quite a lot. I think a lot of people believe that drivers just show up, they drive the car, then they go sit in the trailers or, chill out until it's time to drive again and whatnot and rinse and repeat. Not true. Drivers have a tremendous amount of media obligations. Now, whether that's for sponsorships or for the FIA or Formula One, whatever, they show up to the track on Thursday. They are right in the thick of it, busy as can be, all the way up until, Sunday night, maybe even Monday, and then they fly out to the next track and, they're doing their travels. So that really only gives them a couple of days to kind of recover and, get prepared for the next race. So they have a lot to do. So it's not just, easy peasy. Even though a lot of us would love to have that job, there's a lot of pressures involved that I'm certain most of us couldn't handle. I also don't like that people are making this about Max Verstappen. They're not looking at the message. They're just hating the messenger because of their personal opinions about that person. And then people always have to hate on somebody. Like we look at, poor Maxie. Imagine having to actually work for your income. Maybe Max should decide if he's a sim racer or a real racer first. Driver doesn't want to drive. Got it. More time to play video games, I guess. Then less salary as well. So people are definitely making this out to be a Max Verstappen issue and not looking at the actual message, which, like I said earlier, I actually agree with. Why? Let's forget about the drivers. What about the rest of the team? The mechanics. All the people that work for Pirelli, for example. These guys do not make millions of dollars a year. They're making, regular salaries, yet they are away from home, many, many weekends per year. And I know a lot of people are going to say, hey, I would do that job. I get to travel. I get to be with Formula One, which is my passion. I love it. That sounds great maybe if you're younger, but those with families, children, they're going to want to be at home to see that. And, let's have some empathy for them. The amount that they do away from their homes and families for the money that they make, and not a lot of people can handle it. Look at Williams last year. The mechanics, gosh, they had to stay up overnight repairing car after car after car after car. And, nobody seems to give a shit about them. Like, holy crap, give them some, let's think about that. 24 races is a lot. Having 24 races contradicts the FIA's green environmental message that they try to shove down our throats. Maybe with a few less races, we could have an extra set of tires for every car per weekend. Maybe they wouldn't be so concerned about the tire blankets. And maybe they wouldn't complain so much about saving every single ounce of fuel when they're logistically, the travel costs, they use more fuel than anything. Like, look at this. They go from Saudi Arabia to Miami, back to Italy. They will burn more fuel in the flights on that 3-race span right there than all 20 Formula One cars will burn all year. It's insane. Check this out. A Boeing 747 burns 10 to 11 tons of fuel per hour, which is the equivalent to 5 gallons of fuel per minute. That is insane. I will admit that the 2025 calendar has been put together pretty good logistically. Australia to China, Japan, that's all good. Bahrain and Saudi Arabia, that makes perfect sense. Then the long flight to the United States, then back to Europe for Italy, Monaco, all the way to Spain. And then another long flight back to Canada. Then we're back to Europe and we're all fine to Baku. Then it's a bit of a trip to Singapore, back to the United States. Then it makes sense to stay in Mexico, Brazil, then back to the USA. That's great. And then finishing with Qatar and Abu Dhabi, which are right beside each other. That's all fine. They did a pretty decent job, and I understand how difficult it would be to put together a calendar that works with everybody's schedules. That is not going to be easy to do. So they did a pretty good job. However, every time they seem to be adding races, it always seems to be in the United States or the Middle East. And I do understand that the United States is a big country and it's a huge market. And, to have one simply in the West and simply in the East, may not fill enough of that void or that market. If you put the United States over Europe, it covers a lot of countries. So I kind of get it. However, the Middle East part, we have Bahrain right here, Qatar right beside each other, Jeddah just on the other side of Saudi Arabia. Then we have Abu Dhabi right there, and they talked about Dubai. How many races do we need in that exact small, tiny area of the world? That is a lot. And they can say whatever they want. It's about money. It's 100% about money. Because if you look at how much each Grand Prix pays, Formula One and the FIA or whatever, the Middle Eastern countries, the oil countries, they pay a lot. They pay more than some of the other ones. And, $50-60 million. So it's about money, and I hate that they're adding, I don't like that they're adding races in areas that they don't need to be, but if they're going to add more races, why can't they do it on better tracks? There is no German Grand Prix, which is crazy to me, and they have 2 fabulous tracks. Nürburgring, Hockenheim, those would be great. What about Malaysia? That's a great track. But instead they keep bringing in street circuits and just poorly designed tracks. They've talked about adding a street circuit in Chicago. Are you kidding me? Who the hell wants to see that? And then we mentioned Dubai again, which is right beside the other track. I don't like the quality of races that they're adding to it. So, if they got to do it, do better. Lastly, I agree with Max that there's too many races from my own personal opinion because I just don't have that kind of time to invest in watching Formula One as much as I'd like to. I have other things to do, whether it's work or projects, things I need to get done around the house, spending time with friends and family. In the summertime especially, I want to get out and enjoy the sun and do other activities that make me happy. I don't want to spend 24 weekends in front of a television watching race cars. It's just too much for me, and I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way and are missing a lot of races. And the reality is, Liberty Media and the FIA are likely going to try to add even more races. According to the Concord Agreement, they allow up to 25 Formula One races in a season, so they can technically add another one. Now, you'll hear me say this over and over in these videos, that Formula One is a business and business first, then a sport second. It's about making money. And more races means more profits to Formula One and those involved like Liberty Media. So they are very likely going to try and add another race. And again, I just don't want that. It's just too much for me as it is, and I don't want to see any more. What's the ideal number? To me, 20, 21 would be maximum. I think getting those 3 or 4 weekends per year back for myself would be enjoyable and definitely preferred. I would like that. But you guys tell me, how many races should there be in a season? Is Max wrong? Should there be 24, 25? Or maybe should we go back to the days when there was 16, 17, 18? I don't know. Yeah, you let me know what you think. I would love to hear it. And if you like this video, hit the thumbs up, subscribe for more videos, and thanks for watching.